So what's your podcast about?
Okay, this is making me feel really uncomfortable. Not like it. Is my mic on? Okay. Well then, let's go.
He'll move mountains for you.
He's vibing over here.
He's vibing?
He's chilling. I got mine on the floor.
Yeah. Whatever you want.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Quiet Coyote podcast. My name is Jamie. I am your hostess for today. I'm here, as always, with my good friend, John Jeremy.
Hey, how you guys doing?
And we're here with our friend, Justin, today. Thank you for coming, Justin.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, we didn't do our ow yet. When do we do the ow?
We can do it now.
Let's do it now.
Let's do it now.
Ow! We need that consistency. That makes us feel safe, you know?
Yes.
Welcome back, everybody, to Quiet Coyote Podcast. We talk about sobriety without the silence. We talk about sobriety, mental health, entertainment, and everything in between. We talk about wellness and wholeness, which I think that's what wellness is, personally, is being whole and addressing all areas of your health, mental, physical, emotional, sexual. Who knows? We're all beings here. So thank you so much to our friend Justin for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. How you doing this morning?
I'm so good. Like,
Yay.
this is so cool. And I was driving this morning. My mom's like, what are you doing up so early? I'm like, I'm going to go record a podcast. Like, what? It's Sunday. Like, sleep in. I'm like, you have to understand something, babe. I work Monday through Friday. I get up at 7:30. I'm not sleeping late on a Sunday because my body's not letting me. So, like, don't worry about why I'm driving at 9:30 in the morning. Just don't, because I'm doing that. So it's like,
Well, that's also very important, having consistent sleep. When,
Yes.
I was on vacation this week with some friends up in Maine, and I'm dating somebody new, so my sleep has not been consistent of going to bed at normal time. So doing that is really important to be able to even get up when you're not working at a regular time. Like, I'm up at 5, 6, 7 every day, pretty much. So yeah, I hear that.
That is like, I love you and enjoy your bed, and it's really cozy and really comfy, and also we have to get up and do shit. So it's like, cool.
That's it.
I do that.
That's what we do. We hustle
Couch
in.
is so comfy.
Isn't it nice?
I could just like melt in it.
You can.
So cozy.
We used to have a table on this side. That was the old studio they're looking at. That's the wall. But, like, it felt very, like, news anchory. And the chair was uncomfortable for me, to be honest. I just didn't like having to be like, all right, so,
No,
It's like, next time.
No, you're a loungy person. You're not like
no, and now it's
a
like,
suit and tie. Like,
I'm
pay
like,
attention to me this way.
so tell me about that.
Yeah, there's so many shapes you can make on a couch. So many shapes.
Put your feet up. Like,
Tell me
just
about
talk
that. Tell me about that story. What was going on?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. So Justin, when did we first meet?
When did we first meet?
I feel like early in my sobriety we first met,
Yeah.
and that was 7 years ago. So
Was it?
Yeah.
Or was, because I feel like it was like on like the cruise, or maybe that was like the second time.
maybe
we
the
met.
boat cruise.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
could have been. Could have been.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I remember what you were wearing. It was fantastic.
What was I wearing?
I feel like it was cheetah, or maybe was it me who was wearing cheetah? I don't remember.
You could have been wearing cheetah. I think I know that, and that thing I know you're talking about.
Yes. No, but I was also, the year before that, I was wearing that Xenon tank top. Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Xenon, the Girl of the 21st Century, an excellent Disney movie, I must say.
Such a bop. And everyone was obsessed with it. Like, where'd you get this? I'm like, listen, I got it 12 years ago. I don't even remember where I get half the things I get. Don't worry about it.
No, don't even
just
worry about it.
Just admire it and love it, and just give room to, for it to breathe and do its thing.
I love...
Just like us.
Yeah, just like us. Give room to breathe. I love nostalgic, like, old school movies that you watched when you were a kid and kind of revisiting them in your 30s and 40s now, It's just, like... It's about, like, rediscovering, like, who you are and who you were, and, like, letting that child, like, play a little bit by watching a movie,
I literally watched Grease a couple weeks ago. I'm like, I was obsessed with Danny Zuko as a kid, and now as an adult, I'm like, he is such an ass. Like, and all his friends, and all his friends suck because all they do is make Sandy feel like she has to change to be with him. Meanwhile, he's an entire movie, and it's like, why did Homegirl have to change? She was perfect. She didn't have to start smoking cigarettes and get all leathered up to change. Like, no. So, like, I can tell that my, like, recovery in my brain is changing, because I used to look at that as like, oh my god, that's such a sweet little thing, and now I'm just, like, grossed out by it. Like,
Oh, wow. Yeah, that happened to me once. I was showing the last person I dated. We were watching The Wedding Singer, so and like it was something nostalgic for me, and we're watching it, and like the movie's going on, and then like at like towards the ending, like she like something was happening. I think it was like a climax of like. Anyway, long story short, she's like get out of here because like Drew Barrymore's character is actually cheating on her fiance with Adam Sandler. You know, when you look at it, we think it's like romantic, but then it's like she was just like, yeah, the and I was like, what? She's like, you know, she's blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh shoot, and I was like, I didn't really notice it or see it that way.
Yes, and I didn't either. And like I remember watching like Never Been Kissed recently, and just like. So he's angry at her for being a high school student, and you have a crush on her, and you're angry at her for not being the high school student.
Bro.
What a creep! But it's like you don't realize that because you're kind of swept into this fantasy.
Yeah,
of like,
fantasy.
This is so romantic.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful. Like no,
Nah.
It's really, it's really.
really fucked up when you look at it.
It is, isn't that funny? Seeing it with grown eyes, we call it like
It's
the
wild.
adult eyes.
Yeah.
We're like,
yeah.
wait a minute.
And I think like my recovery has allowed me to look at that because I remember like early in recovery thinking when I get that boyfriend and when I have that movie moment, everything is just going to be what it's going to be and it's going to be magical and wonderful. And I'm almost 2 years out of like the most miserable, broken, codependent and meshed relationship of my life. And I'm just like, I never want to experience that again. And when people tell me, like, for instance, recently, my barber, I went there on last Wednesday. I had a horrible day at work. It was just an awful day. And this guy, for, like, the past, like, 2 years, he occasionally mentions this. Like, you should start dating again. And on Wednesday, he did that. And I was so angry at him. And I literally told him, I'm like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to date. Leave me alone. He's like, I just want you to come home to someone who makes you happy. I'm like, make me happy.
That's right, Queen.
I come home to me. I make me happy. I don't want to discuss this any further. He was really, really pushing me. So I called, someone, who I trust and care about, my sponsor, and I'm like, what do I do? Because I don't want to threaten him. I'm not going to attend his business anymore. However, if you continually push me, and like, she's like, send him a text. So I did. I said, thank you for your service. I really appreciate how you do my hair and beard because it looks amazing. Not right now, like, but anyway. I'm like, but if you continue to push me and continue to, share your comments and feedback about something I don't want to talk about and I'm not willing to discuss anymore, I'm going to take my business elsewhere. And for me, that was such like a badass moment of like, I respect me enough to walk away from something because I'm so tired of this bullshit societal, deeply ingrained belief of I will be happy when I meet the right person. No. Because that brought me into the relationship with my ex. I'll only be happy until I meet that person. Until that person completes me, until that person fills this hole inside my heart that tells me that I'm broken. And like low-key, that's kind of why like I stopped subscribing to like, deeply attending recovery meetings because I felt the same. And we could talk about that.
Absolutely. It reminds me, I've said this to you a lot, many times over the years, that, my number one relationship is with myself. That's my number one relationship. And I remember those times in my life when I was like, oh, this person, this man, this whoever is going to make me feel like a whole person because society says something's wrong with me because I'm not in a committed relationship with somebody. Because, I had different standards back then than I do now, So, yeah, like all that stuff is tricky. And you're still learning to love yourself and learning to be with yourself. And you're developing yourself to be ready when that time comes, because it will. And there's nothing wrong with being by yourself and working on yourself,
And it's funny because, like, if it wasn't for that ex-boyfriend, I don't think I ever would have gotten to that place of, like, relationships die in recovery. My friendships have evolved and changed. The people I spoke to for 3 to 5 years who I thought were like my everything, like we don't talk anymore.
What a great segue to the topic we were going to talk about today. About, changing relationships and changing friendships in recovery and how friendships sometimes just like a beautiful star.
Evolving.
I would say they die out, but it's like a beautiful star. They evolve or die out. They
run out of gas, they run out of steam, they just, they're bright someday and it's like, okay, I'm done with this relationship.
Or maybe there's like a honeymoon phase that happens, in friendships in every relationship, and then what happens is that maybe, I grow apart with friends sometimes just with my mentality and like my beliefs on the inside, but like it doesn't sometimes like navigating true friendship is like a real thing. Like recovery has helped me to understand that. I really don't know how much of society actually thinks the way I thought. I just know that my mindset was effed up when I came in. You know what I mean? Like my mindset was like the dying calf in the thing. Like, oh, if I don't have this person, I'm going to die. I really felt I was going to die.
Yes.
And you know, when you were talking about that person that you had to make that boundary with, like we talked about it before, just before that was like my second sponsor was like that, and I said like I can't, like I have to, you know, but I'm still friends with them, and I still like got a lot from them. So I don't like, for me, I don't want to ever leave friendships. I want to be here and I want to be an anchor. Like that's what I want to be. So whether they come and go, that's like gonna be on them now. Like they can come anytime or go, or they can chill, or they can call me, hey, you know. But like I don't ever want to be like, hey man, like, you know, this has run its course. But I'm also an advocate for people that have to do that, you know, because sometimes some friendships are like, you're going down this road that I can't go. I had an ex, and their journey was, you know, and this is their journey. They were a lesbian, and then we got together, and then they were like, okay, you know, I like you a lot and I want to be with you. And then they went to non-binary, and then like, but it was like the relationship, we were toxic together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then towards the end of it, they were just like, look, I want to like transition, and I want to be a guy. And that's what I said, this is where my journey with you ends, because, you know, I'm a straight man, so I would be disrespecting your that's what I told him. I said I would disrespecting your journey by, you know, being who I am, because then, you know, so it doesn't work. I said I love you, you know, and we said we love each other, and then they went on their journeys, and they did transition, and now they're with a nice girl. I think I haven't talked to them in years, but I'm still always here if they want to talk and stuff like that. Like sometimes journeys, they break off.
It's interesting
You
because, like, I remember my first sponsor, when I broke up with him, he told me it felt like I was chopping off his right leg. And I'm just like, holy shit, the amount of pressure you're putting on this younger person. You're putting on this younger person because I'm ending a relationship because you're not supporting me, and you're not, and I feel like I've outgrown you. So, like, it's interesting because in early recovery, I felt like I didn't know how to say things appropriately. I felt like I was just very like all or nothing, and like how I spoke to people. Like I didn't know how to navigate my emotions, and it just felt like I was awakening to this part of me that was like, I'm deeply uncomfortable, and yet it's my responsibility to like share what I'm feeling, but also not like tarnish another person in pursuit. But I didn't know how to do that. It was like you go from a life of not sharing anything because your mom raised you to go to therapy and like not talk about your shit, to like now I'm explaining everything and I'm going in because you hurt me. But it's like now I'm recognizing like it doesn't have to be like that. And when you spoke about like dying relationships, it's interesting because I'm learning how to accept that. I'm learning that like there's people in my life for a reason and a season, and we move the on. And for me, like the whole idea of like friendship completing me or like helping me like heal myself was like so codependent and so enmeshed.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that. But now, like looking back on it, I'm like, no wonder why these people walked away, because I was a lot and I needed a lot, and like okay. But now I recognize that like when I look at relationships I had, I realize that like Justin could have walked away so much sooner, because if I see you talking shit about every single one in your support group and then being best friends with them in person, why am I surprised when you're going to dip out on me and stop communicating with me?
Yeah, I feel that way too right now. Like when I went out to like eat at the diner like 2 weeks ago on a Friday, and like everybody was there, was like talking about people, and I was just like, yeah. But like I know if you're talking to me about someone else, that I have to be aware that you will most likely talk about me with someone else. You know what I mean? Your judgment, when you're like, can you, like they're saying like this, him and them and blah, 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 and they're talking, I'm just like, when I leave, I was like, they're gonna say something about me, like that. Like, not that I'm not guaranteeing it, but I have it's a possibility.
Well, you're seeing it up front
I'm
and
seeing it.
personal.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you do when the person's not here. So, like, this is going to happen when I walk away, or if I ever do anything that, disturbs you or upsets you. And I think, like, that's why recovery was so, hard for me to walk away from. And we could talk about that because obviously, we've had similar journeys in that way.
Yes. I mean, this just reminds me, this whole conversation between you two about the importance of personal responsibility. Like, I am personally responsible. I mean, yes, God love you. You are also a part of this, but I'm personally responsible for my life and for my choices and for how I show up. Who am I being in the world? Am I going to be the person that talks crap at the diner about someone else who's not there, who can't defend themselves? Or am I going to be the person who observes and sits there and is like, okay, I see what's happening here. And like, then I can choose how I want to be and who I want to act, because like you said, friendships, I feel like friendships should support you. They shouldn't necessarily heal you. Like, that was a very interesting thing that you brought up to me, because I feel like the people that we have in our circles, I think I can speak for all of us, we have people that are in circles that will support us, that will lift us up, but also who will call us out on our stuff. John and I have had conversations
100%.
over the years, about our different perspectives on things and stuff. I don't want just like, sheep being my friends. That's why I have my cat Kimmy for. She's my sheep. Like, she's always there. She's the best,
so fluffy. Oh
but like, to be able to have your recovery journey kind of like the traditional way of, like a recovery program, and then to be able to step into a new part of your journey, like with myself, with my spiritual things that I've been doing now, with my other sober groups I do outside of a 12-step recovery program. It takes a lot, and it's a little uncomfortable. You're kind of putting yourself out there to be vulnerable, to be like, oh yeah, like, when people ask me to do certain things, I'm like, oh, well, I'm just letting you know that, like, I'm kind of not a part of this too much anymore. So I'm kind of over here doing my thing, and and worrying or like thinking about the judgments and thinking about what people are saying behind my back, that like I'm not as sober of a person because I don't go to a 12-step recovery program the way that other people may,
Right. And there's a part of me that feels like if that's your interpretation of who I am as a person, I don't want you in my life anyway, because then there's no room for expansion. There's no room for me to walk away and come back, and it doesn't feel like there's a revolving door. It feels like you're only friends with me because of the group that we go to, because of the experiences we have. And if you're not attending meetings regularly, then like there's no room for you in my life. And it's like, cool, great. Thank you.
I have my important people here. I have you. I have a certain amount of people in my life still from those experiences that are like real lifelong friends, and people who support you and want to see you grow and want to see you be your authentic best self. So
because if I have to judge you based on your, I guess, not judge you, but almost like if I'm taking your sobriety or your recovery as like one-sided, like, okay, I'm measuring how sober you are based on how many meetings you're attending, of course, or anything. It's like, it's not that.
That's
way
a common thing.
Yeah.
I think it's because everybody's sick. They're like just as sick as me, and it doesn't matter like the amount of time or the amount of experience somebody has. Like when I first went into recovery for codependency, I just spoke about it like a few days ago. I remember that, like, I couldn't, like, I saw it more in the people that I would go into the rooms with, and I couldn't, and I say it to this day still. I said, I don't think I could have remained in that 12-step program if I didn't go to this other 12-step program, so it can help me, because like people would like, and I had to make boundaries with people, and they didn't like that, and like, but like, I
codependent people not liking boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
say less.
Yeah,
I had no
exactly.
idea that existed.
And then I started to like, people were like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, are you making meetings? And my codependent, it rose up because I hated it. I hated it. So, but I kept coming, and I stuck. I said, I'm not going to let this make me run away. I'm not gonna, like, this is an opportunity. So the best opportunity for me was to face it head on and to say, like, is it me? Is it me? Is it the way, like, because I used codependency to justify my codependency recovery, to justify it. So I would be like, and I noticed it, thank God, like I said, I was like, I don't know, I just got to keep going. And I was just like, I noticed that I'd say I'm making a boundary, but it was really just a way to avoid you.
Yeah.
I would avoid
Oh,
you.
yeah.
So now I'm practicing avoidance patterns
Yeah.
and control patterns and denial patterns
Right.
by
You're going the opposite direction of your
but I'm saying this
codependency.
is recovery. I'm saying like, this is the way it is. And that's why like I was like this guy that literally was just like he's like in his 80s, and I grew up with him in recovery, and like he literally was like this father figure, the type of father figure that wants to tell you what to do. You better be making meetings. You better, you better, you better.
Oh, Jesus
And
fuck.
he was but like I came in with him and he's still one of my good friends, but like I had to like surf that relationship with him. So I surfed it, and I was like, I don't want to live in a world where I have to hide or be shy or be anything to anybody. Or I'm not apologizing for who I am, but I'm also have to like. That's why I personally love 12-step programs, because they give me the opportunity to now be like, I have to humble myself. I have to give myself. I have to like, well, they're sick, but then I'm sick too if I just turn away. I was like, now I have to push myself to like go into this and be like, how well am I, and how can I practice boundaries if I don't have anyone to practice them with. So I stuck my guns. I did it. Bro, this guy already took me a couple of times, like last week, last Friday, like he took me out again for brunch, and we eat brunch and we sit, and now like, because I stood in the friendship with him, like he loves me more, he respects me more, he like, like, and guess what, like I think me like love boundary, but like calling it out in the moments when it was happening and not leaving the friendship made him a better man. And I mean, I became a better man, God made me a better man, but like this dude became he's a better man for it. And like now it's like I don't have to be afraid to tell him like thank you, like I didn't ask for any feedback, but I don't even tell him that now, because when he does, I'm like, cool. Like before I was so rigid with my recovery, and as you know, like you hit a bottom, you said 2 years ago. I can't believe it's been 2 years ago, because I remember you on the phone with me. Justin was on the phone, and Justin was like, so like you said, it was a lot. You were like you were basically dying. Like Justin was having a new death to have a new life now.
Yep.
So you to see you now today, like it's amazing, but like it's just like a phase that we go through in the recovery thing, that in my own experience. But like everyone has their like if someone says no, I have to not be friends with that person, then I'd be like, cool, because honestly, it doesn't affect me, and I don't have the compulsive urge to want to control them like that, because I don't, not that I don't care, but that disgusting need to be like, well, why don't you try harder, or why don't you do this, why don't you do that? It's
Oh,
like,
God.
bro, like that's not me, like that I do it, that's me,
Right.
but that's not me to put on them,
Right.
and vice versa.
But that's also the problem with recovery, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like people in the rooms are always telling me, if you just pray about it more, if you just do this more, it's like, guys, my trauma lives in my limbic system. No matter how much I fucking pray about it and bring it to God, I have to do more than that. So for me, like, part of recovery has understood that, like, I need more than that. And I do, brain spotting, every week, because I am tired of living in the narratives and in the trauma patterns I've lived for such a long time. And it's helped me more than recovery has
Can
helped
you
me,
explain to people who don't
honest.
know what it is? Hi, audience.
Yeah.
What brain spotting is?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, or John. There you go. Thank you, John.
So brain spotting is a type of therapy in which, so there's something called EMDR. My understanding of EMDR is it has to do with like eye movement patterns. But if you're a person who is so traumatized and blocked, that's not enough. So brain spotting is pretty much a way to talk about stuff that has happened to you, and then like my therapist in the beginning would tell me like, okay, I'm gonna hold this pen up, look here and look there. Where is the trauma? It's there. Okay, stay there. Okay, let's talk about it, let's process it. And because there's been such a shift for me in the last 4 years of doing this, we don't really necessarily do that brain spotting anymore. But in the beginning, I was constantly dissociating, constantly emotionally dysregulated, and couldn't even spend a moment, with her without dissociating, because that was my pattern of like protecting myself. But like with brain spotting, it's doing parts work. So it's called internal family systems, where you recognize that there's parts of self that are deeply running the show and are ingrained in you. So like for instance, recently in the last therapy session I had, I realized probably for the past 2 years or so, up until recently, when people would say, "How are you doing?" I would say, "I'm healing, I'm processing." And the reason I would say that is because my younger part of self was subtly looking for sympathy, not realizing I was doing that. And now, today, when people say, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm living. I'm living, I'm doing, I'm breathing." I would give, whatever bullshit, thought came to mind right away. But, like, I wouldn't tell them I'm healing and I'm processing, because for me, that old belief is reminding me I'm broken, which reminds me of recovery. Recovery, for me, a lot of people get a lot out of it, but I think for me, it felt like I was reinstating this belief over and over again that, Justin, you are broken and you need this, you need that, you need this to heal yourself. And I'm like, I'm fucking tired of this belief. It is destroying my life, and it's destroying any part of me that can like find my own self-love and happiness. So like walking away from that was so intentional.
What a cool shift. That's a really cool shift to
because
have.
I was fucking tired of it. And now, like in therapy, I'm realizing that I've lived a life that has been full of messages of disempowerment. And now, like, I'm dismantling that every day by realizing, like, no, that's a disempowered thought. Let's change it. Let's fix it. What can we do about it, right? So it's like I'm living an embodied empowerment. And I don't need, the 12-step fellowship to do that anymore for me. And I think that, like, that's really important for me to own with myself, and also realize that, like, the 12-step program I was in the beginning was wonderful and great, and I'm thankful I went there, and I needed something more than that. So I found that. I found brain spotting. But then also, when I, had almost 10 years of recovery, I realized there's an avenue of my life in which I'm dying and I'm not addressing. It's time to face that. And you're smiling because you fucking know about that.
No, I do. I have a question.
Yeah, please.
For both of you. Do you feel like it's the 12-step program or the people in the 12-step program? Is it the 12-step program and like, I don't like what it says here. Like, I don't like that it says, because you're saying like stuff that like is in the 12-step program that I know of. Like you said, I have grave emotional and mental disorders. If I'm honest about it, I can recover. If I'm not honest about it, guess what? I don't recover. If I have severe ADHD, if I have manic depressive, if I'm OCD, if I have like a lot of stuff and I'm not honest about it and just think, well, I just got to pray about it and just like, go to a meeting, like I'm not being honest about it. So it says that I can't be honest. That's why people who may have had like sex addiction, like I was dating everybody in the beginning. I put the drink down, but I had eight girlfriends in 5 years.
Big
You know what I'm saying?
pimpin', John.
So, but
Spend and cheese.
But I'm saying though, like what happened was I wasn't aware. Like I said that I should have relapsed a long time ago because of my behavior, but I only know that there's some power greater than me that decided that like, no, I'm gonna keep you sober, and then when you look back, you're gonna be a testament to those other people. So like that's why I always tell people like with traditions, I'm like, we're pushing people away if we just sound like parrots and we tell people like, that's why I said I couldn't have stayed, because now I'll be honest, I don't even notice. People tell me, they're like, you just gotta pray more, and I'm just like, right, like I hear it, but it doesn't. It like someone disconnected the like it was what we call it? Not like triggers, but you can call it whatever you want. It's like something directly, it goes down to the trauma, right? And like somehow I still have to disconnect it, because when I'm not really connected to my recovery in that area, when someone says, hey, John, it'd be a good idea, like that used to trigger me, because I'm like, they're about to tell me something that I didn't ask for, and now I'm upset. But like, again, like Justin was saying, I got to see like, what's the deal with me? Like the 12-step program that I grew up, it said, don't you dare talk bad about doctors because they're miracle workers, right? It said, there's a line that says this, but yet people, they're like, all these doctors, they don't know nothing, and you just got to come here. And I'm like, that's how I know like they're sick like I am, but like maybe I can like share a little bit of my experience so I could shed some light to them. Because like I always said in church, I said, there's a saying that says, Christianity would be great if it wasn't for all the Christians. You know, like this 12-step program would be great if it
Yeah.
wasn't for all the alcoholics. That's a tradition saying.
Yeah.
So like this would be great if it just wasn't for you guys. Like if you guys would just be like cool with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To answer your question, the original question is, do we think it's a 12-step program or the people that kind of like,
for me, it was the people. I just want to put that in there. It was the people.
It's a play of people for John for the people.
The people
I think it's a little bit
away.
of both. You know, I've gone through this shift in the last couple of years where I've gone through my life coach training and my Reiki certification and my interfaith ministry stuff. I just got my certificate in the mail, so I can officially officiate your wedding. So holler at me if you need to get married.
And I attended the ceremony.
Yes.
Cried. It was
and so did John.
So beautiful.
Thank you both so much for being there.
So beautiful.
So when I think about the 12-step recovery, certainly some of it is the people, the people that might be like, thumping the book a little bit too aggressively. And sometimes it is a little bit of the principles because I'm coming through a lens now of like, yes, I have a higher power, the universe. And yes, I believe that she has a great force in orchestrating my life. I believe that she is more of like a coach and I am the player. So my coach is going to give me direction, right? My coach is going to tell me, what might be most successful for me to win this game. But I have to practice. And I have to make choices, I need to, am I going to swing the bat at that ball? Am I going to steal this plate? Do I need a water break? Like I have those choices to make. So the idea that like everything is up to God or the universe doesn't really land with me anymore. But at the same time, I also know that there's so many things that I do take from my 12-step recovery program. Like faith without works is dead is one of my favorite phrases from the book. So, because when you're talking about praying, just pray about it. I think that's important. That kind of like, bolsters your faith, but you also have to do the work. You also have to go through the steps. You also have to go into therapy and do brain spotting. You also have to get a life coach. You also have to exercise, to eat well. I don't think that the 12-step program is as effective for me now because I have such a full life of the ways that I recover that, when you go to a 12-step recovery program, it's kind of a little more dogmatic, right? Of like, this is what you need to do to recover. And then if you do all that stuff, whether it's earnestly or not earnestly, and you don't recover, well, then you feel like a failure, right? So I believe that, the 12-step program worked for me because I worked it. And I did the work and I sponsored people and I did all that kind of stuff. And certainly I know it's always there for when and if I need to go back because, I'm just in this phase of my life where it's not a priority at this moment, but I just know how wonderful it is because I meet people like, I get a little emotional. I mean, people like you two, and people who really just want to help people and help themselves and really just want to contribute to the world and not like, make the world worse than it is because it's a little trash fire out there right now. So we need to keep our circle close. So that's what I thought of when you asked about, is it the 12-step recovery program or is it the people?
So you feel like it's, you don't agree with like turning your will and your life over?
I'll turn some of it over. The things I can't control.
No, that's
like
what I
this
heard
right
from
now,
it.
this frozen shoulder stuff that I'm going through, can't control that. So I'm like, okay.
You're
teaching me patience. I see that universe. You're teaching me patience. You're teaching me trust. You're teaching me slow the F down. You're teaching me to rely on people. Yes, absolutely. But so really the Serenity Prayer really helps me guide of like, what do I turn over? What do I not turn over?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to have an understanding and differentiate because it sounds like you are doing that 12-step program.
Even without stepping into a meeting.
So you feel like
sounds like she got rid of the structure and it was more of like, I practice this in my life, but I'm not needing a meeting to do that. I'm not needing a sponsor to do that. I've taken what I needed and have left the rest behind.
Yeah.
So it sounds like she's doing recovery without actually doing the structure of recovery that tells us if we don't do recovery this way, we're right? Pretty much.
This was part 1. Check out part 2 next time.
Okay, this is making me feel really uncomfortable. Not like it. Is my mic on? Okay. Well then, let's go.
Hey, everyone, look here. Quiet coyote. Quiet coyote.